Mike Moe's wonderful school in Little Wanakee, Wisconsin. He's got a tremendously successful school here. Mr. Moe, thanks for having us today.
Thanks for being here, sir.
Can you give us a tour?
Yes, we're swamped with online holiday orders, so that's what all this stuff is out here for. Normally it's really clean and just as pristine, as focused as possible. Here's our little gratitude tree for all of our families to show, to spread some gratitude and some family-like environment,
right,
especially now during the time where we need it the most.
Absolutely.
So they'll come in during COVID times, we'll check in now, they'll hit the sanitizer. These are all of our cubbies right now. We've got 16 blocked off for our virtual school support, so these students are here all throughout the day. And then shoes and socks for all students, and now number 4.
Wow, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
And how many square feet do you have here, Mr. Moe?
In all that I'll show you, it's about just under 9,000.
Wow. So, and what's the population of Wanakee?
It's just a little under 15,000.
Wow. Yeah. Love this high ceilings. Look at this place, folks. That is beautiful.
So everybody's got their own station, so we can maintain social distance. We've got the heavy bags. So that's actually been one of the positive things coming out of COVID. Everybody loves having their own area.
Sure.
We used to pack them in here.
Oh, yeah.
People. And
yeah.
Now I look back and I say, we're never going back to that.
Right.
You know, just customer service, just making sure every student gets that FaceTime, that individual attention.
Right.
That's what we're going back into. So.
And you had a very healthy student body before COVID hit. I know you're still doing, but you had it up there in some pretty big numbers for
300 plus, maybe 330.
330.
Just Taekwondo.
And that's in a town of 15,000 that has 2 other martial arts schools.
That's right.
That's some impressive stuff. All right. Well, it's a beautiful floor. Love it.
So what we've done here is we've kind of put 2 businesses together. And my dream years ago, before I built this out, was to provide more healthy alternatives. So if you weren't into martial arts, kids are definitely into Ninja Warrior. So
right.
This is kind of like the honey that brings all the bees.
There you go. That's a great analogy.
What they'll do is, of course, the parents and the kids, they'll see when they're having a party here, they'll peek out there, they'll see an energetic, positive, exciting martial arts class. Parents will see it through the hallway.
Right.
And then they'll say, hey, what's that? Oh, that's actually our martial arts school. That's actually the anchor to this whole building. And we've been serving this community for 7 years.
Nice. Well, let's go around the outside of this so we can get a real good picture of it.
So we've been in this location for almost a little over 2 years.
And how long is your martial arts? How long have you been teaching martial arts in Wanakee?
Started off in the Village Center, the little community center, in 2013.
Oh, okay. Right. This is so cool.
And if you come down this way, the crown jewel of this side, we call this Go Ninja. A lot of birthday parties, ninja skills classes, and we used to do open plays, but that's
Yeah.
So here are all of our ninja students. They're all working on their ninja bands. So where we have belts on the traditional side, we have ninja
Oh, you've got a
bands.
regular ninja program.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
So that's been a big part of what we do here. 14-foot wall. So just like in the TV show, most of the kids aren't getting up there. They'll use that 11-foot wall.
Wow.
Yeah, and this door just goes right back out to the training.
Back into the martial arts school. Well, fantastic.
So for us, the business model is, hey, we want this spot, but we don't necessarily want to pay for an entire building. So we've been able to keep them separately, but also share the bathrooms and the HVAC, which is some of the biggest expense.
Right. What a great lead generation system for martial arts and being able to run different types of parties and that sort of thing. Really cool. Well, great. Should we sit down a little bit? And I'm anxious to pick your brain a little bit.
Please.
All right, sir. All right, Dojo Nation. Reid on the road here, and this is going to be a very interesting interview. So to start the interview, once again, you saw the tour of his beautiful school. I'm here with Mr. Mike Moe. The first thing I have to ask is, you have just finished shooting a movie with Quentin Tarantino.
That too, yes.
And how was my camera work on the tour and stuff compared to his? Should I head to Hollywood and start a new career and think?
I was transported back to that set. I felt like, yeah. You put me in the right mind frame for performance, and the angles and everything was just
there. You go. Well, I first met you when one of my black belts, Don Whiteman, had hired you to run their performance team, and I was just amazed at your ability to train and teach kids and take them to a high performance level. Then when I heard that you were opening a school in small little Wanakee, Wisconsin, I thought, well, man, why would he come here? And furthermore, I thought, boy, I don't know how successful he could be. Once again, as it happens more often than not, I was proven very wrong. And you built a tremendous business here in this community, and you're a real asset to the community. Why don't we start with, real quickly, your background in martial arts, and then your quick little journey on how you ended up in Wanakee.
Sure. 12 years old, ATA. From 12 years old, my first instructor, Dave Niska, out of Woodbury, Minnesota. That was my first school, and that's up until this point, that's been the only organization, the ATA, that I've formally trained in. Now, have I trained in lots of other things and
Sure.
with lots of other people? Absolutely. But I've been doing this for 25 plus years now, and I think it's just from the moment I started practicing martial arts, I love martial arts, and then from the moment I started teaching it and seeing what I could do as far as making difference, that's when I also fell in love with that idea of the martial arts as well.
And then how did you end up out in LA in the movie industry?
So my wife and I, we had a school, we were a partner in a school with her mother. So my mother-in-law, my future wife, which is my current wife, and then we ran a school called Excel Martial Arts in St. Paul, and it's still running very successfully. But we started that school and we ran that while I was in college at the University of Minnesota. And then during that time, I got a call from Mike Chad, who I'm sure you know.
Yeah.
He was asking, hey, put yourself on tape for this Jackie Chan movie. So I did that. And then 2 weeks later, I'm in Hong Kong on set with Jackie Chan.
No kidding.
And that was when I think I might have been 19. When I got back, I said, wow, that was fun. All right, we're back to running the school. I'm still in college. It's all good. And at that point, I had asked my wife to marry me, so we were engaged. And she said, no, we are not coming back here. We're not staying here. You have 6 months. We got 6 months to be here. We're going to get married. And then we're leaving. We're packing our car up and we're moving to LA.
Wow.
She says, I don't want to be married to a man that regrets not taking a risk.
Yeah.
So we did it. And from there, I started getting my feet wet in entertainment. I went to work for Mike Chat as his head instructor at XMA World Headquarters.
I had several of my guys from my system work for him out there too.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember working with John Mania.
Sure.
Yeah, we had a great time. And from there, I taught maybe 2 or 3 times a week at places here and there, and just to keep the money coming in. And then found some good success out there, started building my resume. And then after my daughter, who was our second child, was born, we wanted to get out of LA for the same reasons why we wanted to go out there. So now that as parents, you know, we went there as a single married couple, and then we left wanting to be back in the Midwest because we had 2 kids at that point. So we didn't necessarily want to go back to Minnesota because we've kind of done that.
Mm-hmm.
But we had an opportunity to move to Madison, and I kind of did my recon, and I was surprised to see how much of a hotbed Madison and Wisconsin is for martial arts. And I did some history, and there's Mr. Reid, you know, deeply confirmed in that history. And I didn't plan on opening a school. I planned on, you know, acting out of Chicago and just running a small-time community program. And we did that, and it grew so quickly. I think we went from 30 to 90 students in 5 months. Wow. In a community center. Sure. 3 days a week, and I was forced to, so we could have our own place with 5 days a week and a little bit more space. So that was 7 years ago, and now we are in this location that I just took you guys through. This is our 4th iteration. One school, but 3 different expansions.
And there's probably going to be more in the future.
Oh,
that's the way it goes.
Maybe. Yeah, we'll see.
Well, you have had, statistically speaking, extraordinary success in a very small Midwest market. If you were going to advise or explain or inspire people as to how you're doing that, I know people that have been in business longer than you've been born that don't have 100 students. And so you're doing something, there's some secret sauce you're doing here in this community that is resonating with them, and you're getting this massive support.
I think you said the word that's the most important to me, and it's not a secret, but this place is a place that all of our students go. And you know, as I get older, as my time and experience as a father gets stronger, like I'm starting to understand the importance of community for people. And this place, more than anything, is a place for them to improve physically, mentally, emotionally. But it's also just, we try to make this the most positive place in the world.
Sure.
We get that comment from a lot of people from the outside, that, man, this place is so positive. And, you know, we want to challenge our students because I'm a big fan of martial arts and building real skills.
Right.
But at the same time, I know most of our students here are not going to be like you and me, lifers,
Right.
as they say.
Right.
So whether we have our hooks in them for 2 months or 20 years, I want them to be able to just draw from the experiences and the positivity that they get from here. So for us, it's been just about the community. And I think because I had that mindset, I didn't move here to build a 400 student body. I moved here so I could continue to teach and continue to support my dream of being able to go off and do a movie or jump in and teach class or have a place to just train on my
Sure.
own. So for me, it's been all about the community.
Right. Well, and I'm a firm believer that every kid should learn how to swim. Every kid should learn martial arts and go through a 4-year program and get somewhere around that black belt area. Learning how to swim is a lifelong skill, riding a bike and learning self-defense. And I feel very strongly that they should go through that program. But then with the self-defense is great, but there's so much more, as we all know, that can affect the course of a child's life. Martial arts, I started as an older teenager, and it changed my life dramatically. So I've seen over my decades in this, what a benefit we can be for a community and an asset. And when we approach things like that, and now with the COVID, there's some real data coming in on the schools that were community-based and the schools that weren't community-based of how they handled this COVID.
Right.
And the ones that were community-based seem to have been weathering the storms. The ones that didn't are having some challenges.
Sure.
And so it's neat to see somebody that's a positive image in martial arts. Makes us proud to be martial artists, and to see you doing such a great job. What's the future hold for you?
Thank you. I appreciate
I
appreciate the kindness and the kind words. The future at this school for me, I've been really taking this time that we've had during COVID we had spoken there, a lot of things that have been very challenging, but it's opened our eyes to things that we had done in the past that maybe we were kind of glossing over or maybe taking for granted, like class sizes.
Right.
And now it's, hey, we don't necessarily want more people. We want people that value our community and our program more.
Right.
So even if we have less as far as business, because one of our values is to remain financially stable so we can continue to serve this community for a long time.
Right.
So the future is continuing to cultivate leaders in the school, and if they have a want or a passion for this, to be able to give them a roadmap to let them become the next Mike Moe or our lead instructor right now, Quentin Bradley. There's levels, and for me, it's been nice to be able to. I'm a perfectionist, and I used to just teach all the time because I didn't trust anybody else to do it. I don't know if you've ever had that experience.
Yeah,
I'm sure
we all go through
yeah,
that.
so now it's
continuum.
Now I'm starting to see, like, you know, when I step back, there are team members, particularly my chief instructor, that do a better job than me in certain things. So I wouldn't know that if I didn't step back and allow them to grow.
Well, and those leaders, I really focused on leadership the last few years of my operating school. And it became very clear, much quicker than I wanted it to, that the parents didn't want their kids to grow up to be a 60-year-old Randy Reid. They wanted them to grow up to be a 14-year-old Nathan.
Sure.
And they see these kids leading on the floor and becoming leaders, and that's our product.
Yeah.
And sometimes we don't show that product because we're too busy, as you said. We're trying to take responsibility for the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And as we moved into focusing on leadership for these kids, what bigger benefit is there for a child than for them to grow up looking at themselves as a leader? Because they make different choices as a leader. And I'll go to my grave saying, I think that's the most important thing we do here, is to get these kids the self-esteem and confidence that comes from becoming leaders.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you're doing a great job of it here, obviously.
Thank you. Yeah, it's and for me, selfishly, it'll also free up some time and some energy for, because I'm not a one-dimensional person. I want to be able to spend time with my kids and my wife. I want to be able to, at the drop of a hat, because the movie business is so cyclical and unpredictable. I don't want to have to scramble and say, all right, this person there. I want to be able to just, now it's nice. I can just come in if I feel like it, or if I feel like things need to tighten up, I can always make some adjustments. But moving forward, I want to be able to make sure that this place is not dependent on me. It's dependent on the team.
Yeah. Well, and that's, another interesting part of our martial arts business. Done right, if you build your infrastructure, in 4 or 5 years, you can actually, not necessarily retire, but you can pull back. Whereas your average job, you're going to put in 20 years and get your gold watch and go out of it. So you don't really quit your responsibilities change.
Yes.
And it's fun, it's challenging. First you want to see how well you can train black belts, because by God, we're instructors and we're going to have the best black belt.
Yeah, you want to chase the championships and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then from there, we go to how great of instructors and leaders can we be? That's the higher level.
Yes.
And can we inspire them? So speaking of movies, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about your last show, or last movie with Quentin Tarantino. You got to pound on Brad Pitt a little bit and play Bruce Lee. And I thought you did a tremendous job.
Thank you.
It was. Can you just share a little bit of that? Why don't we do it this way? What are the questions everybody asked you since that? I'm sure there's 3 of them that you get asked.
I'm sure the number one is, what was it like to play somebody so legendary and so famous? And for me, I've looked up to Bruce ever since I was a kid. I mean, between Bruce Lee, Jackie Chan, and the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
They were kind of like my compass for what martial arts meant.
Mm-hmm.
And for that movie, it was so much pressure because number one, it's Quentin Tarantino, the director. Number 2, it's Brad Pitt, my co-star. And number 3, it's Bruce Lee. And I don't care if you're a martial artist or not. You know what he looks like, you know what he sounds like, and you know his essence, because he was one of a kind.
Yeah.
So for me as an actor, unfortunately, I didn't get to change the script and say, "Hey, Quentin."
Yeah.
I didn't feel confident in my position to say, "I think it should go this way."
You got this all wrong.
Exactly. And I told him, I said, "Do you really think he was this?" And he said, and he gave me his arguments, and I kind of shut my mouth. I was like, "All right." So my job as the actor is to interpret the character within the scope of the movie. And for me, it was all about, I want to capture that brash, cocky, confident, that he straddles the line between that, especially when he was filming The Green Hornet. He wasn't the more calm, philosophical guy. He was more of, I'm going to kick your ass, So, and that's what I loved about him. When I was a kid, I saw this Asian man who was not acting like what we were expected to act.
Yeah.
So for me to be able to play that side of him was a lot of fun.
Right.
And when I watch it back on the screen, I was like, hey, I think I did capture
I think you did
some of that charisma.
And it's not an easy trick. A lot of people have tried it.
Right.
And fell on their face. I mean, you start in the movie business. First you're working with Jackie Chan, then you get to play Bruce Lee. Yeah, what's next? I mean, who knows?
I think what's next is I got to start paving a path. What are people going to remember me for? Whether that's the legacy I leave through this school, whether it's the legacy I leave in how my kids go on to change the world. And then for me in entertainment is I don't want to be remembered as just the guy that imitated Bruce Lee or got to play Bruce Lee in that scene. So,
Well, you're changing lives, and improving lives. I hate to use that term, changing lives. You're improving lives in this small community, and if we all do our part, school by school, across the nation, across the world, I think it'll be a better place.
we have the power to change the world, that's for sure.
Thank you for your time, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Call me one take Reid.